Welcome everyone, good to be with you again here to practice a little bit of yoga here in the exercise room at the Senior Center, Minnetonka Senior Center. And I'd like to give a thank you to the staff here for setting up our practice remotely and safely, especially to Kaylee and Jeff who helped set everything up here. So again, good to be with you, hope you're all well, and we'll go into our gentle yoga practice here. I'd like you to go down to your mat, and you can use a yoga roll down to bring yourself down to the mat. So the legs are bent, you have a really strong core, and you're just going to release yourself slowly down to the mat. And then just nicely stretch out. You can walk those feet away from the midline of the body and ground your shoulders, the back of the head. Remember, if you need any padding, you can bring a pillow or a blanket. Some people like to have the head raised a bit or have that towel rolled up under the neck. Some people like to bend the knees. Some people like to pad the lower back area. So do whatever you need to do to be comfortable in this opening relaxation. And we can take the legs apart just a bit and then allow the feet to splay away. The arms and hands can move away from the body as well. And just roll the head back and forth a little bit and find a comfortable place for it to rest. And then quietly or softly close the eyes and move inward. Try to find that place of peacefulness and calm within you. We try to come into the present moment, also just called the now. So we turn off the visual stimulation. And then for a moment, we can listen to the sounds around us. And then draw that sense in a bit as well, quieting the world a little bit. Leaving the outside world outside this room for the next hour or so. And once again, just being focused on what we're doing and what we're feeling. We let go of any to-do lists from the outside world, any thoughts at all of the past or the future, and again, bring ourselves present. And then we can stay in this peaceful, quiet place for just a few minutes as we prepare for our practice today. I'd like you to stay reclined and with the eyes closed now for just a moment as I do a reading from the Kripalu Book of Yoga. We know that in the yoga practice we're trying to develop that inner awareness. And this is called the seeds of my awareness. You mean to say that I'm plugged into the same socket as that electric blue sky, so vibrant that I want to lose myself in its azure height? You mean that the same juice that runs the universe flows through me like a love song or a bolt of lightning? You mean life isn't about being good or perfect or virtuous, but daring to freely follow energy? Are you trying to say in your slow and patient way that the presence of spirit is everywhere and that the seeds of my awareness are sprouting even now? So now we'll go into our full body stretch. We'll bring the legs and the feet back together, and we're going to have the feet flexed for this first part of the stretch. With any shoulder issues, you can just keep your hands and arms alongside the body and try to really extend or lengthen the spine through the heart center and the crown of the head. If you don't have shoulder issues, though, let's slide those arms and hands along the floor until we're fully stretched out here, pressing out through the heels and reaching away with our fingertips. And take a few nice deep breaths here. Breathe into the stretch. And then just release and relax. Feel the difference of stretching and then releasing. And then we'll draw the legs and the feet back together. This time we're going to have the toes pointed and reach away again. With the toes pointed like this, we get a better stretch to the tops of the feet, fronts of the ankle. Again, breathe deeply into the stretch. And then just release and relax. And then we'll walk the feet in towards the buttocks. You can resettle yourself, make sure that you feel nice and comfortable on your back, and then draw those bent legs in towards the torso. Again, you can hold the backs of the thighs with any knee issues or just hold on to the shins. We're going to pull those legs really close to the chest, though. And if you can contract the abdominal muscles here, that will help as well. Really good for low back issues. You could stay in this for a lot longer than we do here. But if your back is starting to give you some problems, think about getting down on the floor or even onto your bed and just try to work out the back a little bit. We can do some circular patterns as well and go in both directions. This is a good series to do while you're still in bed in the morning. You can spend 5 minutes or less probably doing these, and you'll really have the lower body worked out nicely before you even get out of bed. We're going to cup the hands over the knees and just draw those knees out and around a bit. And then go in the opposite direction. And then extend the legs up towards the ceiling, and you can just have the hands back on the floor. We're going to have the toes pointed and go out in a V shape, and then flex the feet and draw the heels back together. Again, point the toes as you go out, flex the feet as you come in, and you'll feel the adductor muscles working the inside of the thighs. And then come back to center. Let's scissors the arms and the legs and open and close the hands. Again, a beautiful way to warm up the body. Come back to center. You can do some bicycle movements. Just trying to vigorously warm up the body here. Bring the feet back to center and point and flex. Do some rotations, go in both directions. Bring the feet back to center and then turn the instep of the feet down towards you and then up towards the ceiling. And you can go back and forth a few times here as well. And then we'll just go into the dead bug posture. So for dead bug, the legs are nice and straight, the feet are flexed, and we're just going to extend the arms up, hands up towards the feet. We do keep the shoulder blades on the mat here, and the palms will face each other. Dead bug. This is a good place to really tighten the pelvic muscles. Think of pulling them in towards the navel here, and work that area of the body as well. And then I'm going to turn slightly and we'll move into what is called the happy baby posture. So what we'll do here is take our hands to the backs of the legs, bend the knees, and then take those legs slightly to the outside. And the hands can keep pulling down on the backs of the thighs, or you can reach up for your ankles or for the soles of the feet. And then just draw the soles of the feet together. Take your knees out to the side. You can press your elbows into those inner thighs and open up the hips a bit more. And then just release the feet back to the mat. And you can do some windshield washer movements here. Another nice way of working the lower body. Again, any or all of these before you get out of bed will help you get around a little bit more easily right when you first get up. And then let's just turn on over. And we'll come into a tabletop position here with the knees underneath the hips and the wrists nicely underneath your shoulders. We're going to do something called thread the needle here, which is a nice twist, and it's a bit easier because we have gravity working with us. So you can take your left hand in just a little bit, make sure it's pretty much underneath that shoulder, maybe a little bit in from that. We're going to inhale and sweep the right arm and hand overhead, and then on the exhalation, take that right arm underneath the left and see if you can bring your right ear and shoulder down to the mat. Press into that left hand, bring the right arm through again and up, and then take that hand down to the mat. Twisting now to the left. Thread the needle on this side. See if you can bring your left ear, left shoulder down to the mat. Press into your right hand, straightening that arm, bring the left arm back up and back to center. And then let's just come up on our shins for a moment. You can curl your toes under here if you like and see if you can sit back on your heels for just a moment. And then come up, take the tops of the feet down, and we'll transition to standing using mindful standing today. So you can take one leg out in front of you. You can take your hands to that thigh if necessary. Curl your back toes under and press up to standing. It's a good posture to do on both sides of the body, just be able to get up and down from the floor easily. It's a good sign of our flexibility as we age if we can get up and down to and from the floor. So we've worked the lower body nicely. We'll work the upper body. We'll be doing the eagle posture here in a little bit as a balance posture. So we're going to want to really have the shoulders nicely worked out. So stand tall in mountain, grounded but extending up. And then we'll work the shoulders, drawing the shoulders up towards the ears, squeeze the shoulder blades back behind you and come down and around. Again, up, back, down and around. A very simple but beneficial movement if you're feeling really tight through the shoulders and the upper body, the neck as well. We'll draw those shoulders up now and come forward, down and around. Feel the different movement here. Feel the stretch you're getting across the upper back with those shoulders forward and down. One more in this direction. And then we'll go in reverse again. Up, back, down and around. And then let's do our sun breaths. Arms out to the side, inhaling up. We connect breath with movement. On the exhalation, turn the palms outward and slowly come down. Again, inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. This time, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your thumbs. Palms forward, inhale up. Add wrist rotations. Palms forward, inhale up, bring the palms together in prayer position. Press them firmly together and bring them back in front of your heart center. Now we're going to inhale up, And exhale out and around. Again, inhaling up. Exhale out and around. Let's do one more. And then bring the hands back to center. And we'll do a little bit of work for the wrists. Let's interlace the fingers and work your wrists out. Circles, and then if you choose, you can do that larger figure 8 movement. Come back to center, recross. Do that again. Again, the figure 8 movement will work up the lower arm a little bit more for you. And then we're going to come back to center and turn the palms down and tug. Again, trying to create space in the body here with these different movements. Recrossing, tugging again. And then bring the palms together. We're going to inhale up. See if you can bring your forearms together here. Open the palms towards the sun. Exhaling, we'll bring the hands back together and down. Again, inhale, coming up. Be a flower opening to the sun. Exhale back down. And one more time, up we go. Open to the sun. Exhale back down. And release. Let's float the arms out and bring the palms to the tops of the shoulders and do some circular patterns coming forward, some circular patterns going in reverse. Elbows in and out a few times. Elbows up and down. And then release. A little more work for the shoulders here, floating those arms out and the arms here. Fingers are pointed, just circles coming forward first, in reverse. Coming back to center, making fists, coming forward and going in reverse. Now we'll come and press out through the heels of the hands and come forward. And again, go in reverse. Then turn the palms up, fluttering. Small movements here. Turning palms forward, fluttering. Turning palms down. And then fluttering back if you can. And then release. And do another shoulder shrug or two. And then we're going to use our strap today. Strap is a very handy prop. We're going to go for full range of motion in the shoulders. If you do have rotator cuff issues or any other issues in the shoulders, be mindful and just do a modification of this, just perhaps raising and lowering the strap in front of the body. We'll take a broad grasp of the strap though. We're going to inhale up and exhale down. Again, the strap can stay in front of the body if necessary. Use the breath. Let's do one more set. And then release for just a moment. And then we're going to do a side stretch. If you need a broader base, take it at this point. Strap in front of the body or overhead. On the inhalation, pull down with the right hand while you're lifting up with the left. And then on your exhalation, bring yourself back to center. Inhale to your left. Exhale back. Off to your right. Come back to center. Off to your left. Come back to center. One more time to the right. Come back one more time to your left. And come back. And release. Adding a twist now. Strap in front of the body or overhead. Inhale, twist to your right. Exhale back. Inhale to your left. Exhale back. Again to the right. Coming back to your left. Coming back one more time to the right, back to center, one more time to your left, and back to center. And then we'll take the strap behind the body, and hands are just by your hips now. You don't want a real broad grasp here. You're just going to raise and lower and feel what's going on in the body. And then with the strap raised, you can bend at your hip crease and see if you can bring that strap up behind the back a bit here. Press the sit bones out like you're in Hanuman. And then press on up. And you can release. Let's take a nice sun breath here. We'll do a series to nicely work the spine and flexing it forward and back and side to side. So we're going to stand tall in mountain. Just take the arms out to the side. Take the gaze out where the horizon would be or a little bit above it. And just nicely open up the heart center. Shoulders back just a little bit here. And then float those arms overhead. Come into hands to heaven or Hastasana. Here you can press your hips forward and do a little bit of back bending. Taking the gaze up. And then coming upright and interlacing the fingers, we move into crescent moon. So the upper arms are by your ears here, kind of nicely framing the head. And you're going to sway just a bit side to side. And then on an exhalation, take the head and the hands off to your left. Allow your right hip to bump out a bit. Try to really feel that good stretch from your right hip through your right fingertips. And then we can come back to center. Again, gently swaying a bit and then taking the head and the hands off to the right. Again, hold and breathe. And then come back to center. Now with the fingers still intertwined, we can press the hips forward a bit. Just imagine your fingers drawing a line on the ceiling above you. And then come upright, and then start forward bending. Drawing that line in front of you, and then across the floor towards your feet. From here we'll go into a forward fold, but we'll start in Hanuman, and again, remember to stay in Hanuman. If you have issues with excess pressure in the eyes, if you need to avoid that, stay parallel to the floor in Hanuman, and you'll get a good stretch here as well. Also, if you have untreated high blood pressure, stay here if you're dizzy or congested today. Pressing those sit bones back, keeping that nice curve in the low back area. This is not a place to round down, so keep the shoulder blades back and down. And again, stay here if you choose, or from here, you can move into your forward fold. Bringing the head down towards the floor. This is a place where you could place a block in front of the feet or either side of the feet and come down to that block. You can bring your weight forward onto the balls of the feet just a bit and allow the head to hang down. To come out of this slowly, we're going to take the hands to the shins and straighten out the torso. Take your hands to your thighs and come on up. Come up slowly after being inverted. And then take a nice sun breath here. And then let's do the warrior posture, warrior 2. And we'll just do the one phase of it here. We'll have the feet wide spread, and again, we just tuck the tailbone a little bit. You do want to keep the curve in the low back area. Floating the arms out now. The arms are parallel to the floor. And then the left foot will be your back foot as you start today. So Pivot on the left heel and bring those toes in a little bit, and then turn your right foot away from the body completely. You can walk that foot forward a little bit if you need to. We'll take the gaze out over those right fingertips. Take a nice deep inhalation here, and then on the exhalation, softly bend that forward leg. Again, we're strong and resilient peacekeepers. Press the forward leg straight, turn those feet parallel, and just take a moment here to rest. Floating the arms out, now you'll pivot on your right heel, turning those toes in, and take the left foot away. Turn away from the body completely. And then take your gaze out over those left fingertips. Nice deep inhalation here, and then on the exhalation, just sink down. Try not to surf forward. Again, keeping that knee above your ankle or even a little bit behind it. And then you still have weight going into that back foot. You can even roll to the outside edge of that back foot. And then we can press back up. We can turn those feet parallel and then carefully step the feet together and take a sun breath here. And then we're going to move into a Warrior One series. So we can take the hands to the hips and we'll step back with the left foot. That will be our back foot here. And the right foot will track ahead. The left foot will turn out just a little bit. So a moderate to broad base here, and then we're going to square our hips and our shoulders forward. You can just keep the hands here for now. Take a nice inhalation, just a slight back bend here, and then on your exhalation, bend that forward leg. Again, if you have shoulder issues, the hands can stay here. Or you can move them back into what we call lightning warrior. Again, strong legs. Again, stay here with shoulder issues. If you don't, you can move into the goddess warrior here. Goddess position of the arms. Again, grounded, extending upward with the fingertips. Stay here if you choose, or move those arms overhead. Again, slight back bend here. We're breathing. And then we'll straighten the forward leg, release the arms, and carefully step the feet together. Again, take a sun breath. Nice transitions there. Now we'll step back with the right foot, left foot tracking ahead, squaring the hips and the shoulders forward. Hands can be at the hips here now. I'm going to walk my left foot forward a little bit more here. Nice inhalation, slight back bend. On your exhalation, bend the forward leg. Again, the back leg is still strong. Breathe. From here, you can move into lightning warrior. Move into goddess if you choose. And then go overhead if you choose. And then we'll release. We'll step that forward, or straighten the forward leg and step the feet together. And take another sun breath here. And then we'll do the eagle posture, and you might want to step off your mat. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to balance on the floor. Let's just rock back and forth first again, working the feet and the ankles. And then you can splay the feet out to the side a bit. And then you can come back to center. And let's do the crane first here too as well. So we'll be standing on the left foot. Be nicely grounded on that foot, have a strong standing left leg, and then see if you can bring those right toes up off the floor. And you can release. Standing well grounded on the right foot, wings float out. We'll see if we can bring that left foot up off the floor. And you can release. Remember that medications, caffeine, lots of different things can affect your balance, so just be aware of that. For the eagle posture now, we've nicely worked out the shoulders. They should feel pretty good. We're going to do one more movement before we go into that. We'll extend the left arm out in front of us and draw it across the chest with your right hand. You can hold the forearm, the elbow, or the upper arm. Stay squared forward. This is just a really nice way to stretch the upper back from your spine through that shoulder. And it feels kind of nice, a half hug here. And then you can release. Right arm out, draw it across the chest with your left hand. This is an opportunity to give yourself a pat on the back for the good things that you do during the course of your day. And then you can release. Again, another shoulder shrug if you need. Floating those wings out now. Really extend out through those fingertips. Come forward just slightly at your hip crease. With that long right arm, take it underneath the left and see if you can interlace them. Taking the fingers of the right hand into the palm of the left, and then come upright again. And then you can either just squat down a little bit, or you can cross your right foot over the left. You can leave your toes on the floor if you choose, or you can bring that foot up off the floor. So do what you need to do to stay balanced here. And then we'll come up, we'll carefully release, and we can do another shoulder shrug here. And then we'll work the other side. Long arms, coming forward slightly at the hip crease, left arm underneath the right, interlacing, coming up. Again, if this is unavailable, take your hands to opposite shoulders and stack your elbows. And then you can either just squat down or cross left over right here. And again, over time, you can see if you can bring those left toes up off the floor. And then you can press up, uncross, and do another shoulder shrug or two here. Take a sun breath here. And then we're going to go back down to the mat and do a little bit of back strengthening work here. So we'll come onto our tummies and we'll do a full body stretch here, and then we'll do a diagonal stretch while we're on our tummies here. So walk the feet out, walk the hands away, bring the right arm and right hand up off the floor, left foot, left leg up, and breathe. And come back down. Now take the left hand, left arm up, right foot, right leg up. And come back down. And then we're going to take the elbows underneath the shoulders and just come into a cobra pose here. We're in Sphinx now. Sphinx is just a nice, gentle back bend. Then bring the head down to the mat, the chin or the forehead. Take your elbows out just a little bit away from the body here. And Tuck the tailbone, press the pubic bone into the mat, and see if you can bring the upper torso up off the mat. This is just one version of the cobra pose. Elbows are fairly close into the sides of the body, shoulder blades close together and down the back. And then you can release and take the right ear to the mat as you look to your left and just rest briefly. And then you can bring the head back to center. Now we'll do a different version of cobra. We're going to take the hands underneath the shoulders a little bit farther, maybe midline on the rib cage here, with the elbows pointing behind you. Again, tucking the tailbone, pressing the pubic bone into the mat. We raise the upper torso, and we'll see if we can get the upper thighs off the mat just a bit, taking the gaze up. And then we're going to slowly come back down. This time, take your left ear to the mat as you turn to your right, and just release the hands back down by your thighs. Take a nice deep breath here. And then we'll come back to center and we'll do a bit of locust. For this, we'll turn the palms down. Again, tucking the tailbone, pressing the abdomen into the mat. We'll bring up the upper torso. And then if you can, get those legs up as well. See if you can lift the thighs up off the mat a little bit as well. So cobra works more of the upper and the middle back, locust more of the mid and low back. And then we'll stack the arms underneath the head and move into what is called crocodile. And we'll just rest the head lightly on those stacked arms for a moment. This just helps us breathe by having the chest raised a little bit higher. And then let's come back down, chin or forehead to the mat, hands either back by the thighs. You can go into locust one more time, or you can see if you can interlace your fingers above the back side of the body and then pull with your fists to help you come up. So again, pressing the abdomen into the mat, tucking the tailbone, bringing the upper torso up, and then the legs as well. This is a good stretch for the front of the shoulders. Remember to come out of the posture whenever you need. Let's come back down. We'll go into crocodile again and just raise those lower legs and rock them a bit side to side. And release. And then let's come on up. Press back into child's pose, knees apart, toes together. Get a good extended stretch here first. You can sway those hips a little bit from side to side. That might feel good about now. If you press your palms deeply in or firmly into the mat, you'll get a nice stretch on the underside of the arms as well. And then you can take those arms back on the outside of your legs and rest the forehead on the mat. You can turn your palms open to the ceiling if you'd like. And then you can carefully come up and carefully come over. And we'll just sit in Dandasana briefly. So here we have the legs extended out, and we can tuck the thumbs underneath the body and just release the shoulders back and down. And this is considered staff pose. Just take a few nice deep breaths here. And then we're going to go into Sukhasana, or easy seated pose. And again, it's a little harder to bend forward to release the pelvic area forward when you're seated, easier when you're standing. So this is a case where you might want to have a folded up towel underneath the body, or you can even sit on your block or roll up the back of your yoga mat and sit on that, just to elevate the hips a bit, and that will facilitate a forward fold. Otherwise, I like to say just walk your sit bones back. And then we're going to go into the easy seated pose by bending the legs, and we'll have the right leg in front of the left. Again, walk your sit bones back. And just sit nice and tall in Sukhasana. Take a breath or two here. And then we're going to do a forward bend while we're seated here in this posture. So again, the sit bones are walked back. You're going to take the hands to the mat in front of you and just come forward a bit. You could also just take hold of your knees if you'd like. Again, bend from the hip crease. You want a flatter back here. If any rounding comes in these forward folds, you want that to be in the upper back, not the low back. So keep thinking of keeping a lot of space in the low back area. And then you can release your hands down to the mat. Take a few nice deep breaths here. And then perhaps you can go a little bit deeper. Again, don't force anything. Listen to your body. And then let's come up part way, and we're going to take the hands to either side of the right bent knee. And here you can press your hands into the mat and twist a little bit more so the spine is over that bent knee. And now we're going to forward fold towards that knee. Again, remember what we talked about. You don't want to round the low back here. Come down just a little bit. Probably feel a pretty intense stretch through the left low back and hip area. Again, you deepen on exhalation, so if this feels okay, you can come a little deeper. Eventually, with practice, we'll get the nose closer to the knee. If you can feel your ribs now on that inner thigh, then you can round the head down. Again, the rounding is coming from the upper back and the neck, not the low back. And then we'll press up and come back to center. This is one of those postures where if you do it twice on each side, you'll see you'll be able to go a little bit deeper into the movement. We're going to uncross the legs and recross them now, left in front of right, taking those sit bones back, sitting tall. Again, just have your hands on your knees if you'd like, and come forward. Remember the journey. Let the breath help you. And then let's press back up. Take the hands to either side of the bent left leg now. Again, long spine, aligning it more over the center of that knee, and then slowly come forward and down. And you'll probably notice you are a little bit more flexible on one side than the other. I'm a little bit more flexible on this side, so I'll get a little bit closer to that knee. Let's press back up. Let's twist now while we're in this position. So we'll be twisting to the left now. We'll take the arms out. Inhale and elongate. Exhale, rotate to the left. Right hand taking the outside of your left leg, your left hand can come down to the mat right behind you and press that palm into the floor. You can pull in with the right hand and see if you can gently deepen the twist. Over time, again, taking the gaze farther back. And then we'll come back to center. Floating the arms out, again, inhale and elongate. Exhale, rotate now to the right. Now the left hand takes the outside of your right thigh. Your right hand goes down to the mat behind you. Take the gaze back. And then bring yourself back to center. Then we're going to twist side to side with the right leg in front. This time we'll go to the right side first. Again, inhale, elongate. Exhale, rotate to your right. Left hand taking the outside of your right thigh. Right hand going out behind you. Remember that the twists are so good to keep the spine nice and supple, but also great to move the internal organs around a bit and getting that compression. And then when you release, they get the free flow of fluids. So we'll go to the left side now. Again, inhale, elongate. Exhale, rotate off to your left. Now the right hand takes the outside of your left thigh, left hand going to the mat behind you. And then let's come back to center. Let's extend the legs out in front of us, and we'll do just a seated forward fold. Again, taking the sit bones back. And this is where you could use a strap on the feet as a guide for you. Floating the arms over or out to the side and then overhead. Really reach up here, elongate as much as you can. And then on your exhalation, bend at the hip crease and come forward and down, reaching down towards those toe tips. Again, perhaps the hands are coming to your shins. You can take the hands to the sides of your legs on the mat. Do as much as you can today, comfortably and safely. Again, if you can feel your ribs on the upper thighs, then you can round the head down. And then we'll carefully walk the hands back up. And we're going to turn and go down to the mat for the final twist here. We have a longer guided meditation today, so let's lower ourselves down to the mat. And this is a good place to draw those knees in again, stretch out that low back area. And then you can do a few more circles here. And then come back together, to center. And we're going to keep those legs hugged together. Arms can just go casually out to the side. So we're going to do that bent double leg twist here, reclining. And you could also have a pillow or a cushion or a block on the outside of the left side of the body to rest the knees on if you choose. So hug those legs tightly together. Then as you exhale, just bring those legs off to the left and slowly release them down to the floor. And then the gaze can remain above you, or you can work the cervical spine a little bit more by looking out over your right fingertips. Keep breathing. And then draw the head back to center. We can bring up the upper bent leg, lower one comes up to meet it. Release the feet back to the mat and realign yourself. And then draw those legs into the torso, hug them tightly together. This time, release those stacked legs off to the right. And then you can take your gaze off to the left if you choose, or keep it above you. If you want to add a little extra stretch when you're here, you can take your hand and place it on the top of that upper thigh and just add a little weight. It'll just deepen it a little bit, but it can feel pretty good. And then we'll bring the gaze back above us. We'll bring the upper leg up first and then the lower one. Again, roll out the low back here if you need. Treat this area with lots of loving kindness. And then you can release and go into Shavasana. I will come up to seated. Remember, it's always okay to cover up with another blanket here or a towel when you're going into Shavasana, as the body does tend to cool down a bit. So the guided relaxation today is based on something called the Yoga Nidra, where we move point by point through the body, trying to release and relax. We think about the energy channels within the body. We have thousands of them, and we'd like them to stay open, and we'd like to keep prana, or life force energy, moving effortlessly through those channels for our own good health and well-being. So I'd like you to just visualize that prana as a liquid energy and light, and you can assign it any color that you like. Just allow it to flow beautifully throughout the physical body. The eyes are softly closed. Our breath is deep and even. We've released, we've relaxed. And now we'll watch that beautiful flow of energy through the body. As we begin, we draw this energy and light into our toes. From our toes, we draw it into our feet, becoming aware of the tops of our feet, the soles of our feet, and our heels. And then we draw this energy and light into the ankles and allow it to circulate, bringing healing energy into the ankles. From here, we draw it up into the lower legs. We feel it and visualize it moving through the calf muscles. We visualize it moving up the shins. And then we'll draw it into our knees and allow that energy and light to circulate through our knees. Draw that energy now into the thighs. Visualize it moving slowly up into the upper thighs and then into the hip area. Allow it to circulate here, healing energy and light. Draw it to the base of the torso. Then move it up into the pelvic area. From the pelvic area up into the abdominal area. Allow it to pass through the diaphragm now, moving upward into the chest cavity. And then visualize it filling that chest cavity, filling the chest cavity all the way up to the shoulders. Allow it to wash over all the internal organs, all the internal systems, and bring everything into greater balance and greater well-being. And then go to the outside of the body. Draw the energy up, across the stomach, over your chest, to your shoulders. From your shoulders, allow it to cascade down your back, over your shoulder blades. From the upper back, to your middle back, to your low back, and to the base of the torso once again. Then draw the energy up the sides of the body, moving over the hips, the side ribs, up into the shoulder pit area and the shoulders themselves. And then release from the shoulders down the arms. Feel it moving down the upper arms, into your elbows, circulating there. from the elbows to the lower arms, to your wrists. Allow that energy to circulate in the wrists. Releasing this energy now into the hands. Feel it flow to the tips of each of your fingers and both of your thumbs. Feel the energy in the backs of the hands. Hold it in your palms. Draw the energy back through the wrists, through the lower arms, through the elbows, through the upper arms and the shoulders, again releasing any last bits of tightness or tension. And then draw the energy into the neck, into your jaw, release, relax. Soften all the tissues of the face. Become aware of your cheeks, your chin, your upper lip, and your nose. Become aware of the valley on the right side of your nose and your right nostril, the valley on the left side of your nose and your left nostril. Allow the energy now to flow across the cheeks into the temple area of your eyes. Soften here. And then move under the eyes, to the eyes themselves, to your eyelids, to the eyebrows. Release completely. Then move between the eyebrows and slightly up to an area of intuition and inner wisdom that is sometimes called the third eye. Just become aware of that area. And then soften across the forehead and your scalp, completely releasing the entire physical body. And then we view the mind as a beautiful lake with a calm surface and clear water. We call this the lake of the mind. And then shift your gaze inward and down towards the heart center. And here you can visualize a beautiful light radiating outward from that heart center. And we can acknowledge that heart center as a place of empathy, compassion, and love. Stay here in this place of peacefulness and calm now for a few moments longer, breathing in, breathing out. And now you can bring your awareness back to the room, to this place and time. The light's dimmed because the energy is quiet in the room. And that's what we want to try to achieve. If you choose, you can draw the hands together at the heart center. You can connect the thumbs with the heart center and bow the head. May we always acknowledge and always honor the goodness and the light that resides within us. May we see that light first in ourselves so we can recognize it more easily in others. And then our soul-to-soul greeting and parting. Namaste. And thank you so much for practicing again with me today. I hope you can stay safe and healthy, and I'll look forward to being with you once again. Take care.